Hi guys, it's Graham again and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing my July reading wrap-up. I didn't have the best reading month in July. I read 5 books and as the month ended I had started reading my 6th. My concentration levels have been really all over the place just recently. I've said this before in other videos. I think it's probably the same for a lot of other people in the current situation. But the books that I read during the month mostly were very, very good. The first one that I read was Lady in Waiting by Anne Glenconner. I read this as part of Simon Savage and Melanie Sykes' book club, and this was all kinds of glorious. I adored this so much. So Anne Glenconner was the lady in waiting to Princess Margaret, and was also a very good friend of hers. This has gossip of the royal variety. It has sadness, laugh out loud moments, and it's just so down to earth as well, and she's so straight to the point. I will link Simon and Mel's video down below. I can't recommend this enough. It was just incredible, and it's a book that I would probably reread again in the future, and again I recommend it highly. The next book that I read in July was a book that I bought from Dane Cobain's eBay shop, and it is Virus Outbreak by Ian Probert. Now this tells a sort of fictionalised version of an Ebola outbreak which happened in, I think, the late 70s, early 1980s in Washington DC. This was a fun read. It was quite dark, it was quite foreboding. Ebola happens to outbreak in this monkey house, which I don't agree with that, because it was like monkeys that they were testing on, I would imagine. They think that they get it under control. It turns out to be a non-human affecting version of the virus, but then once they think they've got it under control, there's like a second wave of it, and yeah, probably not the kind of thing to read during a global pandemic like we're in at the moment, but yeah, it was a short little read. And at the back there was a sort of few pages of facts about pandemics, mostly the Black Plague or the bubonic plague. That was quite interesting. So yeah, really good. I really enjoyed this. Then I read, what did I read next? Yes, it was this. I read a collection of poetry called Surge by J. Bernard. I'd heard really good things about this, and I didn't gel with it, personally. There was a couple of poems in here that were glorious, and I thoroughly enjoyed them, but for the most part, I didn't enjoy this, and I don't know if it was just my lack of understanding, my lack of experience with poetry, I don't know, but yeah, the writing I can appreciate was lovely. This is based on 2 fires that happened in the past. There was the New Cross fire, which was a birthday party that a lot of black teenagers were killed at. And then obviously the Grenfell fire from 2017. The poems that I absolutely loved in this collection were, let me just find them for you. So they were poems called, it was the last 2 poems in the collection. So they were called Losers and Flowers. And I thought those were just amazing, and I thoroughly enjoyed those. But the rest of these kind of, for me personally, fell flat a little bit. It may be the kind of book that I need to reread again. You may need to be in that sort of mood to read poetry like this, but for the time being, wasn't for me. The next book that I read was Speak No Evil by Uzodinma Iweala. I hope I haven't butchered that name. This tells the story of, oh my goodness, what was the boy's name again? Nuru, He is a young black boy living in Washington, D.C. with his very conservative religious parents, who are originally from Nigeria. He is also coming to realise that he is homosexual, he is gay, and that is very, very frowned upon in his background. This made me feel uncomfortable. There were scenes of like, I'm going to say gay conversion therapy, and that made me feel really uncomfortable. There's no speech marks in this, so no punctuation, and you don't know who's talking all the time. You don't know what dialogue belongs to who, and it's almost like what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a flow of your thoughts inside your head. I can't even think. If I remember what it's called, I'll pop it on the screen. Virginia Woolf wrote quite a lot in that style. Yeah, I can't remember, but if I do, I'll pop it down somewhere. Yeah, this made me feel uncomfortable. It has two sides of the story. So the first half is told by Naru, who is the young boy, and then the second half is by his best friend Meredith. At the end of Naru's section of the book, he has run away from his parents. He has just finished school, and they are going to some nightclub. It picks up with Meredith, and it turns out that Naru has been shot and killed by the police. It was hard going. This really was hard going, and like I say, it made me feel very uncomfortable. The writing was just incredible as well, though. Yeah, I think the sign of a good book that is trying to get a message across, if it makes you feel uncomfortable, it's done its job. And for me, this did its job. This took me almost 2 weeks to read because, again, my concentration was all over the place, and I did struggle slightly with this. But yeah, it might be a book that I would read in future, and I would recommend, if you haven't read it, to read it, because yeah, it's worth a read. The last book that I read before the end of the month was We Should All Be Feminists by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I really enjoyed this book. This is like a more fleshed out version of a TED Talk that Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie gave in London in 2012 about feminism in our modern world, and how, you know, the pay gap and men are always seen as, you know, the more important of the human race, and no, it shouldn't be like that. And this book does touch on that. There was a lot of sort of personal examples, and I think Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, obviously because she is a well-known writer, she's wealthy, it was kind of from that wealthy perspective, and it wasn't like I'm not going to say every man's tale, it wasn't like an every woman's tale, because not every woman has the I'm lost for words. The privilege. Not every person has the privilege of being a wealthy, well-known author. But it was an incredible read, and I did enjoy it. And it's a book that I would read again in the future, and again, I recommend it if you haven't read it. The very last book that I started in July and I am carrying over into August. I don't usually do that because for me it feels messy and it kind of bothers me slightly, but less so with this one. It is the 3-act tragedy by Agatha Christie. I'm reading this for Christie Fest, which is hosted by Julie The Hungry Bookworm, and Lil of Lil's Vintage World. I will link them down below. I think the Christie Fest goes, I want to say, until the 16th of August. I might be wrong, but yeah, I'm really enjoying this right now. I'm just under halfway through, well, quite a bit under halfway through. I'm about 90 pages in, and there's already been 2 deaths, and I love it. It's everything that Agatha Christie does well, and it's just brilliant. It's based around the theatrical world, and the deaths occur in some way with poison, but I'm guessing that the poison hasn't been found in the system of the people's bodies, so it's like a poison that disappears, does its work, and is untraceable. It's so good, and I love Agatha Christie, and it has been a long time since I've read anything by her. I just love it. So that was my July reading wrap-up. I am out in the summer house at the moment because hubby is working and I can't distract him by blabbering on about books. And also the nature of his job, he needs to make phone calls sometimes, so it just wouldn't work. So it's a relatively nice day. The sun is kind of trying to come out. It's almost like oppressively warm, sweaty warm. So I don't know, I might sit in here for a bit longer and read some more of my current read, or I might sit out in the garden. I might even just go inside, who knows. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Whatever you're doing, I hope you have so much fun doing it. Whatever you're reading, I hope you love it. Stay fabulous, be amazing, be yourself, stay safe, and I'll see you again soon for another video. Bye bye.